Rob and Andreas were devastated by the storm. That home showed the typical destruction force that a storm like Hurricane Ian brings.
Emil, look at this. This is usually the exterior.
Yeah. This is the definition of a storm-created opening that let water in.
Well, our adjuster's here only 15 minutes late.
Yeah, give him a break. Let's see how he does.
I mean, this is just drywall, though, so that will dry. You clearly don't know as much as you're claiming that you know, okay?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Ooh.
That's not how we're going to do this. Let's take this differently.
They're not always on your side, and you're not always in good hands. My name is Bo Williamson, and I am a public adjuster. I stand up for homeowners when they have insurance claims. Our headquarters is in Panama City Beach, but our fight is nationwide. Sometimes insurance claims can be through the roof. However, insurance companies don't always want to pay you. That's why I'm here. Living the Christian life and dealing with this crazy world around me, one thing I've learned is someone has got to stand up for the little guy. This is Insurance Wars.
Susan, how did your treatment go this morning, your radiation?
It went well. It was quick, in and out every morning.
Wow, you're a trooper. Well done with all of that.
I don't know about that. You do what you got to do. About 5 weeks before the hurricane hit, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. About 3 weeks before the hurricane hit, I had a double mastectomy, and the company that I work with is amazing. They found us a house right away that I could stay in so that I could start my radiation treatments every morning at 7:30 for 32 treatments here while I'm working.
Susan, from her diagnosis and the journey towards her realization and the treatment she's had, she's been incredibly strong. I know there's an inner battle in there that she doesn't share, but it's a personal struggle. And it's been good to be able to stand with her and encourage her and support her when she's not felt as strong as she needs to.
Look at that over there. The awning's ripped off the top of the roof. Tile roof is all messed up. Wow, look at all this destruction here.
I mean, every single roof. The hurricane just hung over this place and walloped it.
Yeah, it was here, what, 12 hours?
And you know, so many folks go into this and they know the hurricane's coming, but they think maybe it's not going to hit my house.
And then you have flood insurance versus wind insurance.
Oh, that's a mess.
Wow, it's terrible when wind points to flood saying that's the issue and flood points to wind saying that's the issue. That's when we become the most amount of help for these people, is to straighten that mess out.
Well, there's a lot of work. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we have the opportunity to help so many folks.
Yeah.
Incredible. Can't seem to get over this.
I think it's a tadpole.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Oh, man.
I'm
Yikes.
Susan, and this is Emil.
Hi, Susan.
And my
Emil.
card's back in the car.
Rob.
But I'll get it for you in just a second. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
So
too.
good to meet you guys
You
as
too.
well.
Thank you for
so
showing
sorry
up so
it's
quickly.
Under these circumstances, there's my car.
Wow. Thank you.
Wow,
Look at it.
wow. Man, it's like a war zone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rob and Andreas were devastated by the storm. That home showed the typical destruction force that a storm like Hurricane Ian brings. Look at this. Something just devastated this banister, tore up.
That section of the roof went airborne. We've got some of this on film, and she does as well. Went airborne, came over, hit this, and impacted up against that wall. You see the scratches on the wall, and it barricaded the kids and stuff in the house. And then the rocks off of the roof came in. This is just the minor stuff. You can see it looks like it was shot with a
It looks like
pellet gun
bullet
or-
holes,
yeah,
doesn't it?
It looks like a bullet hole.
The broken windows on this house are really unusual. It's not your standard cracked glass. There are projectiles that were coming so forcefully through the air that it caused BB-like holes in this glass. Probably sounded like bullet holes.
Those are the same rocks that totaled out the cars here in the front.
Well, and all the white spots that you can see
Yeah,
are those rocks.
are all dings.
And then the black is going to be your shingles that
Shingle.
are flying through the air.
Man,
And you can't clean that
developed
off.
it.
No.
Well, you can see the water compromise in the walls. So the challenge is water went in through the soffit and down into the walls. Now you got Category 3 water in the walls, and so that's a problem.
Our insurance company has offered a nominal fee to fix all of that, and it is not anywhere near what we need to repair the home and get it back into a livable, safe condition for the family.
The debris was almost to the top of the, just below the door. We put some stuff back up, but look at all of this. So when I first met with the insurance adjuster, after days of calling him, they finally showed up and he came. He was a bit hesitant about looking at the house. He looked outside and says, yeah, that could be fixed. Yeah, that's not a problem. Everything to him was not a problem.
And we understand that insurance companies, they're overwhelmed right now, but we have a responsibility to take care of our family and provide them a safe environment. We pay those premiums. We pay some large premiums, and we're just looking for fairness in return. We're not looking for profit. We're just looking to be able to move back into our home safely and provide for our family. Rain fell into the house, flooded the upstairs, that fell to the downstairs, and now we're already starting to create a mold bacteria situation
Petri
in the
dish.
house.
Yeah,
Petri
pretty
dish.
much.
The experience for that house, if you'd been in that house, would have been absolutely frightening, because the sense would be, not only is there a train rumbling by, but this is about to collapse on me. That's the stress that this house was under.
I sure appreciate y'all showing up so quickly.
No problem.
We're here to help. Let's see what we can do.
Thank you.
We're going up to here.
Is that staircase going to hold us?
I think so. I'm going to let you go first.
It'll hold me.
Oh, way to go, way to go. Does this notebook make me look fat?
So this is the upstairs.
Wow.
Thank you.
All the insulation came down?
All of it came down. You could take a look at the furniture and everything.
gee.
It was,
No, that's a Petri dish.
yes, for sure.
Oh, wow. Wow, you guys got walloped in here.
Oh, wow. Ceiling's out in the bathroom.
Oh, yes.
Wow. No wind in here. Emil, look at this. This is usually the exterior.
You know, and that's normally when a flood saturates a house, that's what it looks like.
Or the wind spins it
Yeah,
and
that is
sticks it.
crazy. It's crazy.
And it's so hard to save anything that's upholstered, anything that's...
Anything that's material, anything that's porous, has got to be replaced. This is a typical storm-created opening. This is the definition of a storm-created opening that let water in. And absolutely, with this amount of water, everything in this building is affected. Every wall's got to come out. Every floor's got to come out. I don't see how one can even start to repair this.
Small amount of money so far they've offered, son?
Very small, and they kept saying, oh, that could be fixed. That should cover it.
Yeah.
I don't see how.
The insurance company has offered $80,000 on this claim. That is an absurd amount of money. We need new roof. The house has to be gutted down to the studs. There's not a piece of sheetrock that's going to be able to be saved. All the flooring is gone. Everything. The contents, everything. We have $480,000 worth of dwelling on this house. We're going to need every penny of it to bring it back to the way it was before the storm and to also bring it up to code. But to offer $80,000 on a $500,000 loss, it's pretty standard, but it's just sad.
Now, this room here is one of the worst.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to have to do to dry this out to where we can even begin downstairs.
We take it all out. It gets completely taken out. All the sheetrock, all of the clothing. Because it's Category 3 water, which is nasty, dirty water, most everything in there is going to have to be replaced.
I don't know that anything is salvageable.
I don't know
at this
that it is.
level. I'm not sure about downstairs, but I think you're right. The floors, everything's got to come out.
This is take it down to the studs and start back over again.
Take it down to the studs, clean the studs, clean them up, make sure. So I'm even seeing some cracks along the studs here. Look at those cracks running across there.
What about the concerns about black mold?
Most people panic thinking they're going to get black mold right away. That's something that takes a while. It's the last mold of all of them to kind of pop up and grow.
And the folks that come in will clean up before we even get there. Not only will they take the walls out, they'll dry the air out, they'll dry the structures out so that all the moisture is removed. The good news is that's their forte, that's their sweet spot, and they do a great job of that.
They're dealing with not only the chaos of the damage around their house, issues of the insurance company and what they're offering and not offering. They're dealing with the depression that sets in at this point. It's a couple of weeks after the storm. Things are not back to normal, and they're not going to be back to normal for quite some time. It's hard, guys. You know, we live with this in this area for weeks on end until we can get it cleaned up and get it done. Just keep in mind, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be home again And you'll be happy to see it just takes a while to get there, and the patience is very trying. I wish that the insurance company would do what they're supposed to and just get all of this taken care of right away, but that's not the way the system works.
Right.
So,
Okay, guys, thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
so-
Let's
sure.
get your paperwork and let's take the next step. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
we save the squirrels nowadays,
Yes.
so everything is done on the tablet.
Excellent. Excellent.
Do we know anything about this adjuster?
I've not met him before, but I've spoken to him on the phone. He was a little short with me and not interested in playing ball as far as setting a time.
This policy had a $484,000 coverage A. The insurance company offered them $40,000. They're going to need all of the $484,000. So we're going in understanding there's a huge difference between the initial position of the carrier and where we need to end up. There's a journey of negotiation that needs to take place. So we've got to go from 80 to 400 plus. If we can control the conversation, we can manage the outcome.
We had our appointment set with the opposing adjuster, and we were able to get Brett Schlangler on the phone and say, hey, I have a feeling that this is not going to go the way we'd like it to go. Do you mind stepping in with us and talking?
He's the right man for the job.
He's the right man for the
His
job.
knowledge is excellent. I
Yeah.
love working with him on a
I
project.
wonder how many storms he's worked, because it's got to be 20 or 30.
Well, our adjuster's here only 15 minutes late.
Yeah, give him a break. Let's see how he does.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, I'm Susan.
Susan, Jake.
Nice to meet you.
I am Brett Schlanger. I'm the construction consultant.
Nice to meet you.
I'm
Jake.
Emil.
Emil, Jake, nice to meet you.
Jake.
That's
From
right. You're very funny, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, we try.
My name is Brett Schlanger, and I am the president of Prime Construction Consulting. Susan and Emil trust me in situations like this because I can talk intelligently about what needs to be done from all angles of construction and help them justify what damage needs to be fixed or replaced.
So tell us a little bit, what is your mandate here today? What did they send you out for?
To do an overview of the entire project here and see
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay, and you have not been on the property
No.
before, so this is your first time here?
Correct.
Great, let's look at it and let's get this knocked out.
So let's start with the exterior and then we'll work our way in. Just love to start at this wall right here, if you don't mind. First thing I'd love to point out here is the spider cracking that's going along the exterior wall. That happens a lot of times in storms like this. You're gonna have a shift because of the extreme winds. The blocks have shifted on the inside of the wall, and that's causing the spider cracks. So what we'd like to do is obviously cut out all of that stucco, re-skim the wall, and then paint over afterwards. It's like almost every instance with these adjusters is a lot of times they'll come out and half the time they don't even know why they're there. Just your typical scenario and unfortunate circumstance of what we've come to expect from these carriers in a lot of instances.
Yeah, so this entire roof from this complex behind us got lifted and slammed against this house by the hurricane. The entire house shook, you're gonna see inside. It picked up the stones from the ballasted roof and it picked up the shells. There's a whole island of shells there and slammed not only the windows but the wall.
Now, in the first carrier estimate, it had reglazing of like 4 or 5 windows, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
also.
I only see 4 windows. Actually, that one looks pretty good up there.
Well, what we want to focus on also not just the actual panes of the windows themselves, but the frames around the panes, because when you have winds like this, those frames bend.
The insurance carrier's adjuster was out there. He was taking notes, but it didn't look like they were very specific. In fact, sometimes I think he was just fake writing something down.
All right, let's continue.
We have significant separation and damage here and a big chunk of that wood out from what was slamming against this house. You can see the marks up on the side of the house, white and black, and all the little pellets against it. So this entire elevation is going to have to be redone.
I also would love to point out the tar that's along the wall here. That has to be treated, removed properly, and then recoated the wall. The wall has to be recoated.
Little black paint.
It's actually not paint, it's actually tar from the asphalt shingles that blew into the wall. and the tar itself is now stuck to the wall, and that can't be removed with a pressure washer or a hose or a sponge. Unfortunately, it's going to also remove the paint on the wall, so you'd have to paint the entire wall. It will never match.
Why don't we go look inside, guys?
Okay, we'll head up these stairs, be a little careful, they're a little wobbly. We were looking at it and pointing out things, Brett was pointing out things. His expertise and his knowledge on all of it really showing the adjuster what needed to be done, how it needed to be done in the process. It helped a lot, but I think that our adjuster was pretty much just blowing us off. So you can see there's just a tiny bit of damage in here. Well, you can see there's 1/4 of an inch at least on all of these screws where this lifted up and then came back down.
Do we have a visual of what this looked like before? And who did it?
Well, I think that's not that important. If you look at these screws, they're still silver. They're still in a good condition. The separation is fresh.
So the first thing I'd like you to pay attention to as you walk through is the floor itself. You're going to notice that it's buckling a lot.
I actually didn't notice that.
Okay, let's...
I felt a buckled floor, but I didn't notice it here.
So watch here.
Yeah.
Can you see how it's cupping?
Right here.
Can you get a picture of that, please?
Not really, but
Yeah,
I can take a picture, sure.
And before we make our way into the room, I'd like to point out the ceiling drywall here. You have some nice bubbling that's starting to form here. And throughout around the door frame, there's obviously been seepage. I mean, we're missing.
I mean, this is just drywall, though, so that will dry.
It's not called drywall because it dries.
You can't go to the store and buy a patch.
Yeah, you typically would have to replace the sheet, and then it's popcorn ceiling.
Which means you've got to redo the entire ceiling.
And guys,
You
let's
can't
look
patch
at the
it.
reality of this. For 8 hours, water came in, flying in. Every bit of this has to be gutted. Every single bit.
This floor is in danger of collapsing. That bedroom suite is delaminating. There are even cracks on the trusses. So we're not talking a little bit of minor damage.
This is major. This is
I don't
gut.
see cracks on
Yeah,
trusses.
that's a problem. Don't allow what you can't see to limit the extent of this claim. For a insurance adjuster in a claim like this, many of them don't have the knowledge they need in order to make the assessment. Here you've got somebody whose home is devastated and is being evaluated by somebody who doesn't know how to evaluate it.
If you can get some photos of that, please.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Look, there's one right there.
You've had all the elements pouring into this room, and this house for that matter, for a number of hours, and then the elements over the weeks after the fact. It's just made it completely unsanitary. The whole thing has to be removed down to studs.
I mean, can you see that?
I see they have a lot of stuff here. I see that a shot vac could take care of a little bit of this stuff on the walls.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Were you ever a contractor or a subcontractor? Have you ever manually done anything like this and taken the walls off and seen
I'm an
what's
adjuster. I'm an adjuster.
Okay.
No, I'm not a
So
contractor.
What were you before an adjuster?
What I've done prior to my adjustment is none of your business.
You know, a lot of these guys that get brought out, the insurance company runs an ad in their town, and it's like, make more money than you've ever imagined. Come be an adjuster for us for the next 6 months. Meanwhile, these guys have never, swung a hammer or, done any kind of physical construction, nor do they have any experience in construction. And they are ultimately the decision makers, or at least influencing the decision makers on what needs to be done with these homes and these commercial properties. It's lunacy, and it needs to stop, and it needs to change. And I'm hoping that, over time this process does get a little better, but my gut tells me that's not going to happen.
So again, from the contractor perspective, I would come in here as a contractor and I would gut all of this. Every single bit of it needs to be done.
Every inch. The decking is starting to splinter off.
Delaminate.
And you see the stains on the decking itself. So that decking is going to have to be replaced because it's completely unnailable at this point.
These walls are contaminated, and they have to be pulled out. The walls, the floors, everything has been impacted by Category 3 water. Write that down and do some homework.
Please don't tell me how to do my job.
I am, because you're not doing your job correctly.
Why don't we continue?
We're leaving our homeowner in a really bad situation, and none of us want to do that. Your company, you, us, Brett, none of us want to leave these people in a situation where they can't rebuild or have to rebuild
With their
back
limited time and the limited stuff that they have.
They have $484,000. You guys have given them 80. That doesn't touch that. That's what, Brett, the roof?
The mitigation in this house alone is going to exceed $80,000. I mean, there's just no way to do it. We're at policy limits all day, guys.
The work here that needs to be done is substantial.
You clearly don't know as much as you're claiming that you know, okay?
Excuse me. Be careful. That's a little aggressive. That's not how we're going to do this. Let's take this differently.
Let's walk outside.
He just didn't have what he needed. One, to understand the level of damage. Two, to understand what's required for the restoration process. And three, to understand the funding of it. He may not have had the authority to make a decision. He certainly didn't have the knowledge. Hopefully we'll get there in the end. I'm fairly confident we will, but it may not be with his assistance.
You know, Jake, it doesn't appear that you have a whole lot of actual construction experience.
Shocker, there's not more women like you in this industry.
What year are we in? It's mind-boggling that someone could dismiss someone's expertise based on their gender. And quite frankly, I hope that adjuster is formally written up and sees this video, and the insurance carrier sees this video, and I hope that he's reprimanded for his comments, because there is absolutely no place in this business, or any business for that matter, for that kind of thought process. It should not be allowed. Hey Jake, just so you know, I've been dealing with Susan for about 5 years now, and her knowledge is more than most men in this industry. You might want to just consider a little bit more what she had to say, because I promise you, she knows what she's talking about.
She has a lot to say. Too much.
All right, well, you have a good one.
So, Emil, you gonna call the supervisor?
Yeah, that's not Jake from that's a mistake from But let's get a new adjuster out. Let's start don't you agree?
I agree.
Let's have the conversation with some
maybe even
fresh
ask
eyes.
for a CAT adjuster, because I mean, someone with some experience that actually knows construction might be helpful.
So the best way for us to handle an adjuster that's not doing their job properly and not taking care of the homeowner or policyholder is we wind up going to their supervisor and asking for another adjuster to come out. Most of the time, we're able to talk in an intelligent way to the other side and get where we need to be. But sometimes, man, oh man, you just wish that person had never shown up on this claim at all.
All right, guys.
Hey, thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
your time.
Anytime, as always.
Really
Always
we're
a
going to be
pleasure.
in touch.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
We're going to speak with the homeowner a little, just talk a little about the process, where we go from here. We're going to tell them we're going to call for a reinspection.
Again.
And is it okay if we call you for the reinspection?
Anytime. I'm at your disposal.
I so appreciate you, Brett. Thank
you guys have a good one.
Y'all
Thank
take
you.
care.
Take
Bye.
care.
Let's go talk to the homeowner.
Careful stepping over here.
Yes.
Because there's nails and debris. And little things like that. The homeowners decided to go with a company called MJD Global. They are phenomenal. They come in, they're gonna map the house, figure out where all the moisture is, which pretty easy on this house, it's everywhere. They're gonna pull all that sheetrock off, they're gonna scrub the 2x4s, they're gonna plastic everything off, they're gonna do a phenomenal job. When I go back out on an MJD job, I swear to you, you could eat off the floors once they leave.
MJD is really blessed to have a partnership with Noble Public Adjusters, and Susan and Emil, we work directly with them. We were really honored to come in and help with the project for this couple, and their home needs a lot of extensive work. They're gonna get something that's gonna be very special. They're gonna have the best public adjuster on their side, and they're gonna have the best remediation company so that we bring them back to better than they were prior to this happening.
So there's a clause in our contract now. It says cooperation. The reason that's in our contract now is because we had a client that Emil and I signed up, and we've worked together about 2.5, 3 years now, that fell head over heels in love with his accent and his baby blue eyes. It got to the point where she would let no one in the house other than Emil, including the insurance company. So now in our contract, we have cooperation. You really have to work with all of us, not just one.